want romance, don't go into statutory marriage. I'm begging you. Because you can't have it all. You can't have it all. There are some women I've interviewed who are in 30, 40 years marriage who told me that they never went to any registry. Their husband is their head. They don't joke with their husbands. They don't call families to come and solve problems for them. They just took it like, he must succeed. And like Pastor Tunde had said, when I listened to him, he said he had to develop, he had to become a foolish person. Anybody who is claiming right is not foolish. Your head is working mentally. It's mental. You come back, you close at 4 o'clock, and then you come back at 8 p.m. And then the woman goes to the door and says, I look and I say, look, what do you have to tell me? You just have to tell me where you're coming from. Today she does it. Tomorrow she does it. Next tomorrow she does it. It becomes a week. It becomes a month. She'll be tired and then she wants to court and tell the court that I want this marriage dissolved. Why? Because she feels that she has a right that is backed by the state, and the state has enthroned her, has empowered her, that look, you can do as to the extent of your happiness, because happiness is what the state considers. Once you're not happy in a marriage, you're cutting it off. There's no suffer. What you bear, what Leah bear, what she bore, law calls them as suffering and punishments. Nobody deserves that before the state. So if you don't know now. If you want to keep your marriage, because this is a Christian community we are now, I'm talking about protection at the same time telling you how the state sees it. If you complain too much and the complaint is piling up, the court will simply suggest to you there are different types. We can have you may want to test whether the man will change. There is something we call judicial separation. Under judicial separation, the man cannot have conjugal. He can't force you to do anything. You are still married. You'll be married. I've suggested it to some people that force you when they run to me, that some of their pastors will usually say to their members that, look, sister, what's going to happen? We don't want them to say, we don't want them to divorce because Christ does not have divorce. A woman with black eye, and you're saying that Christ does not want divorce. By the time they give their stories, I'm shaking my head that I hope either party will not die before divorce. So judicial separation means something that is legally binding, right? The state is aware. Anything you do within that period is crime. Because the one party has sought the intervention of the state. The state is aware that you're both married, but within this period, you cannot enforce your right. You can't force her. You can't force him. It's a period when they check whether sanity is feasible, whether sanity can return. Right? And when the time is due and they feel that yes, this thing is not changing, they slice it and stop it. Then there was another question that Sister Eunice asked me about succession. What a man owns under statutory marriage belongs to the wife. Both of them. But you can't claim it. Isn't it funny? Everything that is within that marriage is for one purpose. But the woman can only lay claim when she can establish by facts that she did this, she did that, she contributed this, she contributed that. But for the time that we had, I told her that I have a 50-page that I can see that time has gone. I wanted to bring a matter in which I represent when a woman took her husband to court. I remember what that woman said that day when I was living in court. And you are a woman. You meet. I just laughed because I said in my mind that she doesn't understand what she's saying. The man wanted to sell their house. The man, the husband, wanted to sell the house because according to the man, he's broke. He's broke. But there are other properties owned by the man in Lagos State. This woman loved Bagodo so much and felt that it would be a punishment for the husband to take her to make the family go to where he was suggesting. So she just, this is the, just like I've been saying, the state empowers you, fills you with some rights. But Christianity says, throw away the rights. Do you understand me? The world says, take, but God says, give. The love that God is saying is, give everything in sacrifice, but the world is saying, take everything as much as you can get, because you have the rights to take them. So the woman took the man to court and said, no way, the man cannot sell the house. I don't know if I was wrong, but I told the man, I said, immediately, let us get buyers. Immediately we win, because I know that you're going to win. There's no fact to show that she contributed to the building of the house. So we went and we went and we went, and then the judge came up with his judgment that argument she came up with, that house belongs to both of them because they are married, does not, because she has no proof. And in actual fact, when the place that is supposed to be the matrimonial home, because truly you cannot dispose of your man, the matrimonial home cannot be you can't displace it. Let people know now that after marriage, the first house you move into does not end up being the matrimonial. It's an issue. It's an issue because the man would develop. The man will actually become more profitable, will become more prosperous, and then he changes the property. And the first place where he took you to will end up being the matrimony. It's always debatable, we debate it. Now, when they had their wedding, the man took her to their hometown in Kereke. So that was held to be the matrimonial home. So we won the matter. And immediately after, the man displaced the house. She went to court of appeal. She lost. She lost because, according to her, the man is not loving her again. What is this going? Then I maintain that there are two things before the court. It is either you dissolve the marriage. Yes, if you're fed up of the marriage, dissolve it. I don't see why the same body will come to court and sue itself. I asked the judge to ask her where she's going back to when she leaves the court. Because you're fighting your husband in court, where are you going back to? Are you going back to your father's house, or are you returning to that house? And she said she's remembered that it's just an issue. The other side was afraid that no, we're objecting. That's not the issue before the court. And I asked if she can tell this court where she's going back to after leaving the court. Then you know whether. And she actually, that woman tried, because that particular night, I left the night the man reported back to me. And she boiled water. You see, these are the things we're talking about. She boiled water, and while the man was sleeping, was going to pour the hot water on the man. But God just said him that at that time. But they was married. Wasn't they married? They was married. She was under an emotional influence at that particular time. And all she can think of is to damage the man. May God help us. So decide very well. You may choose to counsel you. So I'm recommending, for the purpose of this movement, that everybody needs counseling. before marriage. You need it. And when you're seeking counsel, consult with a lawyer. What are the things that are likely to come if I go into statutory marriage? What are the things that are likely to come in if I stick with the customary? And what is the importance of church blessing? This lady that I'm talking about that was on honeymoon to Dubai, the priest was the first person to suggest divorce with them. So what has the church got to do where marriage is concerned? It's a Catholic church. As the judge asked her, what did you say? The priest said, she said, I've never heard that. I don't know Catholics do that. She said, the priest recommended annulment. I've never heard. She said she's a Catholic. The priest said, get ready for annulment of marriage under the seat. So she got into marriage under the seat. May God really help us. May God really help us. We're not Muslims here, and it's not a Muslim gathering, so we cannot really talk much on Islam. But I want to tell you that partnership is marriage. You know, one single person goes into partnership. It is two or more. Two or more. Now take that two or more, link it with your husband saying other women outside. Let your focus be, I don't want to dissolve the partnership. It's enough. I want to win. Because there is nowhere he goes that he won't come back. Most of the time, I think they come back to their senses. Like Sister Eunice has said, maybe there's something the woman is lacking that he feels that he can get outside. But if you want to keep your marriage, you may just shut your eyes to it and not choose to go to God. But if you choose to go to God, you can come to me. No, that's the truth. If you choose to want to go to court, you can come to me. I try to counsel people first and let them know that, look, divorce destroys. It destroys because once you carry the tag, the next person who's going to marry you would ask you, he had something at the back of his mind that she's been there. And if it's a man, the woman sees you like there's a hint, like there's something that holds her back and like, look, this man knows some things that I don't know yet. And most of the time, when the man takes second marriage after the divorce, he's watching you as a woman, checking what the first one did. What the first one did is re-experiencing and re-experimenting on you. So if care is not taken, it's going to hit you. We've seen it. You see the trouble? He will be comparing you with the former lady. And that former lady is not you because two compositions now are involved. So he's going to be weighing you and going to be saying, okay, these are the things that Fadeke does. This is Morenike now. How does she behave? Can you imagine it? To me, that is weird. Now, when you start comparing a former woman with the present, you're not helping yourself. Or when you start comparing a former man with the present man, there is no. So this is why divorce should be avoided. Maybe you can have it this way. Go into it, have the statutory, but keep a mindset that you're a customary person. Yes. Custom is in the Bible. Custom is part of Africa. And I tell you authoritatively today that an average African man is potentially polygamous. We've seen it. What? You can ask. I like mine to be told. Let's talk together. An average African man is potentially polygamous by nature. When he keeps you in the house, at the night of your wedding, I'm not getting you scared. There are still friends. His friends who are female that attend the occasion. We've had the thing. What I'm saying here is not what I experienced. They are matters brought before the court. No, you didn't ask me anything, you're speaking. Yes, but that's in your mind.
So there's that exposure. So if you say that level of education,
it is not, don't get it wrong. Don't make a mistake. Let me disabuse your comment. It is not the registry that's binding them together. It is not. It's a personal decision. Why the Muslims people are, while they are abandoning polygamy, has nothing to do with the court. The reason why they are abandoning polygamy is because it destroys. It destroys. The rivalry within the house. Let us imagine Jacob, Leah, and Rachel. They started having children to the point of presenting their mates. Is that not competitive? Right? You know, they got to a point where they cannot rear children anymore. They started presenting their mates. Then the mates too started, just went on and on like that. While the modern day Islamic marriages are shying away from the multi-one, is because of enlightenment of the experiences that have been shared by older people. That there is no how you can keep two women together on the same roof, that there will be peaceful coexistence. That's all. Now, when you go to registry, it's not the registry that keeps the marriage. What you go to registry to do is to serve one end, to show yourself to the state that you're legally coming together as man and woman, but it doesn't stop the innate characters in human beings. That's what I'm trying to say by saying that put your mind as a woman, not man now. Men does all sorts. But you have it at the back of your mind that you don't want to part with the partnership. See it as partnership. Because one, the family starts the family. The marriage starts family. Now look forward to that family you're raising, not the other partnership is having elsewhere. Usually they get terminated for whatever reason why they're so in their boundaries. Do you understand me now? But Nigerians largely don't like to conduct the customary marriage just because they want to be the only one. But being the only one, which is at the back of their mind, which takes them to the court registry to go and swear to oath and say we're man and woman, has not been corrected. Can you see it now? They want to keep the man alone to themselves, but the registry is not helping it. Because the registry does not follow you about. Does not follow the man about. So it has to be a personal decision. And who most of the time can take such decision is the woman. But by and large, know the man very well. It's very disturbing. What can be most devastating for a woman knowing at the night of a marriage that the person she's married with, that she has sworn oath to be together as man and woman for the rest of her life, is a game. And how do you discover that? By monitoring. Monitor. Get to see his friend, watch his associations. Who do you see around him? Why is it that, ask him, why is it that most of the time, when I come into your house, I meet men, and when I get in, everything goes low. I don't know, I'm not a counselor. But what I am here, hammering upon, is that the major purpose of getting the state aware of your marriage is rights, protection against damages. Damages can be anything. What people don't count as damage, if a man takes it to court, and the court weighs them and says, yes, this is damaging. Maybe, for instance, he was eating, like he was eating and just, or maybe he was snoring. and then just part. And the man goes to God and said the part was hurting. Yes. In the middle of my sleep, I was sleeping and she just pat me, and that moment she pat me, my blood pressure shot up. Went up. Because it can happen. You may never have known that the man is hypertensive. No man will tell you that he's hypertensive. So when he goes to court, and then he tells the court that immediately he did like this, from my sleep, I was fine, deep into sleep, and then she just shouted, and then she did it the fourth day, and then she did the second day, and my BP rose. And then the medical expert could tender before the court that truly he's hypertensive. The marriage is going down the drain. So we need to know very well, and if anywhere I go talking, I recommend to people visit the family court. Visit the court. The court is open, so that you can hear things. Before you go into marriage, especially statutory marriage, visit the family court. I didn't say we have the family court. I personally, before I started practicing, I'll go and sit in court. While we were lost, I sit and I'm listening and I say, oh my God, what is this? To me, it was, what the heck? But when I got into it, and I said, oh my God, it's about life. The state doesn't want anybody to lose life. And when I go to, when you sit before the older men, they tell you, there was a time my wife was hell. So how did you get over it? They will just simply tell me that, look, yes, we were at the registry, but we didn't even understand what registry was doing then. We just knew that we have to do it, but what actually sustained them was custom. That's why I said, go into it with the mind of, if you don't want to conduct your marriage under customary marriage, go in with that mindset. Even though you have the registry, the custom does not let you go. You have to keep reporting. Like Pastor Tunde said, he said initially they will say his wife doesn't know how to greet. That's what customary is about. Until you get it right. It gets to a point that men get tired. That's when you begin to enjoy your husband. And everything that started like war will seem like story that both of you will laugh about. You now sit and laugh together. Gone are the days. You, at this time, you're back home. You say, I'm going to see for counter. Nothing outside. But if you're the type who likes to flex muscle, please walk into my office. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay, the first question says, if a man has been customary married and wants to marry another person in church or court, what happens considering the fact that if a man has been customary married and wants to marry another person in church or court, what happens considering the fact that who has said customary marriage do not divorce?
First and foremost, a man who is in an existing marriage cannot take another. It's voidable, to be void. You cannot. The fact that, but let me give this warning. If a man was in customary marriage, if it was not conducted, I hope we understand that the customary marriage too has faults. We have the customary. The customary courts is a custodian of customs, and everything concerning customary marriage is taken before the customary court. And the members of the customary courts, you have the president, you have the custody, you have people who know very well, who masters the custom of that area. But where a man has been customarily married to another one, it will be this. You have to determine, if if truly the rites of customs were performed. If they are performed and then he went to another corner and take another wife, right, another woman, by statutory marriage, it may be void. It depends on how the argument goes, right? But if the argument is poor, that other woman that it takes to court is seen as the legitimate. That's the qualification. If you're married under statutory marriage, statutory laws, which is the English marriage, right? You're seen as the legal and legitimate wife of that man. But the other one who was taken under customary will have to find her level. Can you see it now? But it may be voidable if it is found out, right, that the conditions that custom permits, like bringing cola, sharing of wine and all of that, all those were performed, then the marriage is voidable. When I say voidable, they will make him realize that he cannot take the one he's just bringing before God because he has a marriage coming up. But by and large, thank you for the question. I'd like to warn again, Nigerians do both together. And when problems stems in court, the court is always finding which one to depend upon. We're very fond of the engagement thing. First, they say they have the traditional marriage, and then the English follows. The courts get confused as to how to determine such matters. They ask you which one do we depend upon. Are you under the customary or under the English? So decide very well. Maybe it can be changed to your statutory marriage first. Then maybe like a week after, you can not an engagement and say you want to celebrate it in the traditional way, bringing your families together. Some are smart, they call it Thanksgiving. I've seen some of my younger ones, they will tell you, no tradition, because I've educated them. They'll tell you we're not doing the traditional, right? Engagement, they may call it, right? Then they exchange the rings and all of that, which is done even in UK. They exchange the engagement rings. Then the following week after the marriage, they do a ceremony, elaborate ceremonial one involving the families. That's another way. Any other way?
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Someone is asking at what point should adultery not be tolerated, especially for men, since the church...
Adultery is don't even take it. It's not known to Africa. That's just a very celebrated. It's not known to happen. You can't. How do you establish it? Who asked? How do you establish it? Is the man going to bring the woman forward? It usually stems out of suspense. Because anything you cannot establish before the court will hear it. So how do you get the other woman?
A colleague of mine, the guy has fathered a set of twins, and it is known to the wife, and like the church, the same church is saying, like you have said, the church is causing problems. That
honestly,
it's not enough.
That chunk of the modern marriages are facing a response by the church.
The lady is known to the wife. She knows she has evidence, travels with them, and they are young couple.
It can't be. I don't believe this.
I am telling you,
cannot
life.
No. Is it church that brought them together or the state?
The state.
And the church knows this.
The church, in fact, the church is one of the reasons no divorce is not permitted. The church will always say, like the wife said, that they have seen worse cases.
No, when we're saying that, let me get you well. This is funny. I know that the cabbieces is line up 4 women. They do. That's under customary. Look, I've seen a man who quickly wants to beat his wife to it, who got a chieftaincy title to stop the woman from going to court. You can't, when when issues stem, you cannot imagine how smart men are. Do you understand? So he pleaded, he tilted to the side of custom, that he is a custodian of custom. Can any woman take her to court and ask her why he has 2 wives? But this is a man who first had the court registry. But immediately he turned rich, he took another wife. And then to back up and establish the fact that he has the wherewithal, he can prove custom, and he can say that by right he can do it. He got the title. So how do you fight such a man?
No, in this case, the question I'm asking,
The case you're asking,
married to the other one.
yes, the church knows that they are married statutorily. That's what you're saying. And then the same man took another member of the church, right?
Not a member of the church, another lady.
Yes.
And he fathered children with her. And the relationship is still on. And they're encouraging the wife to stay in the house and accept the relationship.
Okay. I think I get it now. Which is
open. The church is open. You leave the house and go and stay for.
No. What the church is simply saying or stopping is divorce with the first one, because in the spiritual eyes, they're seeing it like she's the rightful one. She should move on in her marriage, which is what I am hammering on. It's not only the custom, it's not only the spiritual thing that I think the church is thinking. They are seeing it, they are looking at the angle of the fact that it's going to end. Most of the time, such marriages end. There's a lady who just narrated to me that auntie, she's in UK, I just want to run down to Nigeria and hug you and kiss you. And asked me why. He said, he told me their mother is dead. Before their mother died, their father had a girlfriend, right? Who they were suspecting. The children were seeing, but they couldn't do anything. So when immediately after their mother's death, the man brought in the woman. But the children kept hammering on the fact that their father has been seeing her before their mother's death. Then I just said, look, forget about it. You are all older, whatever child that woman is coming up with, you are all older than that child. And the Lord is going to consider that. You see, recently, the Lord will consider No. The Lord will consider I'll tell you why. How? Now, after their father's death, the woman knows that her children are younger. The woman also knows that the man has trained the older ones to the point of no return. So she played the smart one, right? Then, now the man died intestate without a will. I think the man knew already that there was going to be a problem. Usually they die intestate. So they needed administration, they needed letter of administration to be able to distribute the man's estate. And the man simply made a testament. Before his death, he went to England without telling the woman. I tell you, men are wise. They always know when trouble will start, and they usually provide before ugliness. So he flew to England, made a video will declaring how he wants his estate to be shared, known only to the older children, the wife and all. So she just thought, he died intestate, ran to court. It was before this downturn. So the court now said, well, there is nothing you have listened to. He said, no, that cannot be. The husband must have been under influence, under duress and all that. And the man ended that will by saying, I am sound, sane, and mentally okay. That this is my last testament. So if he knew, no, he just gave instruction as how to raise those children. So the Lord, look, well, you can't be smart. No man, I have not seen a man who had been married to a woman, no matter how bad that woman is, the children who had been children of your youth, who you have grown to love, you have trained them, you spent money on them, then you want to throw them away because of one woman. No, they don't. It's rare. It's rare. And the man said, look, the woman should be taken out of that home, she's still young, can marry any other person if you like, but the proceeds of that house should be spent raising the children she had for him. You see, the man didn't didn't have a statutory marriage. He can't do it. Men are smart. Yes, you can.
I've seen cases where, like, I'm talking of customary marriage. You know, you said customary marriage, they don't usually divorce, or they don't divorce. But we see some people,
they can return.
They have
right.
They have 4, and they are all customary. They all pay dowry. I mean, whatever. How is that? When you say one person can annul?
No. Under customary marriage, if he takes the first one, carries the wine from the waist, carries the cooler, pay the bride price and all of that. Now, if you're fed up of the woman, you return the bride price. That's just it. It depends on the custom. Go and watch it very well. Look at the custom. If he does not do that, they take you to customary court. We have the customary court. We have the area court, we have the customary court, we have other. It is not only the high court that is the court in Nigeria. In the north, we have the area courts. In the west, south, down here, we have the customary court. And who are those members? The members are experts in the custom and tradition of that particular area. They will tell you the implication of not doing it. And where it fails, the woman. That's where you cannot compel. You see, the difference between the customary court and the high court is high court makes a mandatory to dissolve it. Because they know that from the onset, discretion is what you use to marry the other party. You use it's just your discretion. Like you have children now, you want to take them out, and the elder said, "Mommy, I prefer Mr. Biggs," and one says, "I want KFC." You now have to use your discretion to know how to strike the balance. So discretion is what they use to marry under customary law. Your own egg. It's not about the state. The states would dictate, look, does this marriage have parental consent? You can't give them excuse of, okay, if your father is dead, who is next? If your mother is dead, who follows your mother? At least to be sure that the state is not fooled to a corner where they cannot solve the problem. But in the customary marriage, you use your discretion. It is your decision, whether it is poor, whether it is sound, whether it is beautiful, nobody intervenes. You see the man, like the African magic store, the man keeps coming to the corner of your room, whispers into your room, then you go to tell your mother, your parents, this boy or this guy, I found him and I like him and I want him to marry me. I've agreed, whatever I face there is my responsibility. That's what the customary. But why I say it's not usually easy to separate them is because no compel. You cannot compel a man. Do you understand? If he says he's tired, he will just walk out of it. But in the case of the statutory marriage, you can take him to court. Some of them don't pay it. And my sister tell me, yes? No, you are talking of like where the man paid the bride price and he wants to return it and the woman is not accepting. Then he walks away. You can't force him. Why can't it? Okay, it depends on the custom. No, I'm asking, it depends on the custom. If you're talking custom, if custom says unless you return the bride price, you cannot take another woman. That's how it's going to be. And that's why in Igbo land, they don't joke with it. I know in Igbo land they don't do, but the Yoruba is flexible. They are flexible. The men get away. The men may not even say it out. That he's not marrying you again. He just simply works and pays the same, yes, and does the same dowry on another woman. That's his way. In the Yoruba side, his way of telling you that I'm fed up with you is to bring in another woman. And then he asked the woman, did I ask for dowry money from you? I didn't use your money, so what the heck? Do you understand? Come on.
Someone said, it also seems that in Nigeria, even after divorce, the men in most cases are not compelled to pay any damages and child support, even if
No.
there's a court order.
No. If a divorce term and court awards according to how they should be spent. If there are children in that marriage, they must be careful. If the court is not saying anything about it or remains silent, go to the child. I mean, we have the child right. I was even going to say that one of the key things that Pastor Tunde and Sister Yunus have not talked about in relationships is this: if you sleep with a woman, whether you're married or not, and child stand from that intimacy, you're in trouble, because presently the Nigerian Child Act protects the children and careless about those adults that brought out into life. You must, if you have to go and do whatever means, you must care. Because the world presently today cares about children. And that's why they stopped it. There's no bastard. They stopped it long ago. If you call a child a bastard before me, I'll take you off on it. You don't call any child a bastard anyway. Because why? They discovered that a lot of the children who were having psychological problems were those who were abused with words. What do you mean customary? By chance? Okay. No. If there was a child, the only difference, what the state would just say is that the child was had out of wedlock. But the child is entitled to some things. A child is a child. A child does not. The present state is the present state. There is anything like being a child. No child determines the circumstance of birth. That's what the Child Act said. Do you understand it? The child does not determine the circumstance that around it. Two adults brought the child to life. Do you understand? So if they find out that you were maltreating a child because he was not born with the child, look, that's why you will see some men caring more. Because if the world, if the outside world hears it, you're in trouble. Big one, though. Big one. So a lot of men now knows that. So they tend to carry more for the one held out of the world flow, so that they don't get into trouble. No child is a bastard, and no child is illegitimate. A child is just a... Look, the best definition is a child is a child. They don't determine the circumstance of their birth.
Someone is saying a woman built a house in her name and then got married legally to a man, and just because she had to change her name to her husband's name, so the man asked her to change the name of the house she built before getting married to him. To his own name. What does this say to that?
That's fraud. Fraud. That's fraud. We will work. Huh? No, that's fraud. Who asked that person?
I think she did.
It's fraud. Don't tell the person it's fraud. The same way that that you form partnership over business, that's the marriage. That's why I say it's fraud. If I'm coming into partnership with you to set up a company that does services, that a service-oriented company, and then you're telling me that the things I've owned separately before we form the partnership, we should transfer. No, I'm telling you that everything a woman owns, tell the person, are you the person? Tell the person that I said she should go and read the married women property rights. It's fraud. Anything you own before marriage, the Married Women Property Act now covers you to claim them. I want somebody to ask me, why is it just the Married Women Property Act and not the Married Women Property? Because it's been an ongoing issue. You see, before that act came up, women were being cheated on the note that once you get married, everything you own, belongs to your husband. But some women who are more liberated in UK now fought for it. I said, no, this cannot continue. And the woman who led them, I can't remember her name now, she was in court and she sensed it that, so even me, she was a very powerful person. So she now got and started thinking, she was going home and she was reflecting over it, that you mean even my ring is not mine. So that's how they fought it, and the Married Women Property Rights stand. If you can establish that you own those things by proof, not just by mouth, you must have the receipts to show that you got them. The dates must show that you got them before the wedlock and all of that. So fast you can claim them. It's fraud. No man can tell a woman that because we're married, now everything I've owned before automatically transfers into the marriage. When the world is moving forward to the point of having prenuptial agreement. I don't know if anybody have it now. I mean, you've heard about it. People, especially women, now enter into agreement to list out everything they've owned before marriage and then get them protected. So when a man asks a woman who's bought a house and built it, that's fraud. Any other question? Can we round it up?
I think that's okay.
In marriage that I just has, and after she gets married, has she own things that I just has? Like some women will go build houses in their names, they do all these things in their names.
Nigeria is not a Polish society. Nothing stops. Whatever a man wants to do, a woman can do. You see, but like you said, to have your peace, it's good to carry. Nigerian man I'm talking about now. It's good to carry him along. Don't hide it. Tell him a good man, a modern-hearted man, would see light in what you're doing and flow with it. But why some women hide it, right, is because of avoiding competition. They don't like rival, they don't want a case whereby the man sees you as a rival in terms of progress and prosperity. So some women smartly either get their mother, get their sisters to front for them and all that. But if that man finds out, there's a problem. Yes, because he would see it more than that. He can even say, well, maybe the money he's been giving you for upkeep, that's where you divert it. There's no story you want to say. But for you to have peace, it's better to discuss it. Let the man know that, okay, I got this offer, maybe my place of work has a mortgage plan, I'm trying to buy into it, or this land just of a chance, and I think I should take advantage of it. I want to do it. My husband, this is what I'm doing. Then you move on. And when you do that, if he starts making trouble with you, stand up to your right. There's nothing that stops a woman from owning anything.
I have a friend, she and her husband in the US. But basically, the truth is, the husband is from the East. he's been married before. I know like these days people do both the customary, the church, the court, because they feel that way you can't go. So he's done all of that. But I mean, for him to marry this other lady in the US, he has to be divorced, yeah? So he's divorced with his first wife, but they have two children. But he didn't return the dowry, or she didn't return the one who is supposed to return, I don't even know. So this other lady, she's actually Benin. And she always feels in the back of her mind that, although she's married with him in court, but back home in Nigeria, she's basically really loves his wife because he has not really paid her dowry. And that if anything happens to him, his people in Nigeria will not consider her wife because he did not pay dowry. So you go. So who is supposed to be wife now?
Your friend, yes, if I get it right, she was married to a man here. They are both of yours. The man. Where did the marriage? Well, the second marriage took place where? Okay, but the man had a wife here. Okay. To your friend. Okay. There are so many cases of that. The US law is not the business of the person here. She's gone over to US. But the US law will protect that lady and that man.